The massive alien ship hung in space above Earth, like a dark metal moon. It was bigger than any city on the planet below. Its surface was covered with weapons that could destroy entire countries with a single shot. Inside the ship, Admiral Vextar looked down at the blue and green world through his command center's main screen. "Look at this pathetic place," Vextar said to his second officer. His voice made clicking sounds that other aliens understood as laughter. "These humans still burn chemicals to fly their little rockets. They have not even learned to bend space for travel. How weak they are." The alien admiral was tall and thin with gray skin that looked like old leather. His eyes were large and black, and his mouth had sharp teeth that showed when he smiled. He had conquered 47 worlds for the galactic hegemony. Earth would be number 48, and he expected it to be the easiest one yet. "Sir," said his tactical officer, "our scans show they have primitive nuclear weapons, some basic satellites. Their fastest ships can barely reach their own moon. They pose no threat to us." Vextar clicked his teeth again. "Of course they don't. Send them our standard message. Tell them they have 3 days to surrender, or we will turn their cities to glass." Far below on Earth, alarms rang in military bases around the world. In the Pentagon, General Jake Martinez stood in a room full of screens and blinking lights. He was a big man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent 30 years in the Army, but nothing had prepared him for this day. "Sir, we're getting the alien transmission now," said Lieutenant Commander Ryan Hayes. He was young and nervous, his hands shaking as he worked at his computer. "It's being broadcast on every frequency we know." A message came through clearly, even though it was in an alien language. Earth's computers quickly translated it. The meaning was simple and terrible. "Submit to alien rule. Give up your freedom. Send your people to work as slaves. Hand over all your resources. You have 72 hours to decide." General Martinez felt his stomach drop. He had known this day might come. The government had plans for alien contact, but they had always hoped the aliens would be friendly. These clearly were not. "It me, the president," Martinez said. "And contact Dr. Lisa Burton. Tell her it's time." Dr. Burton was in her lab when the call came. She was a small woman with short brown hair and smart eyes behind thick glasses. Most people thought she studied space rocks and alien life that might exist somewhere far away. They did not know what she really did. "The package has arrived," the voice on her secure phone said. Those were the code words she had been waiting to hear for 20 years. Lisa locked her lab and walked to an elevator that most people in the building did not know existed. She pressed her hand on a scanner and spoke her name. The elevator went down, down, down to levels that were not on any building plans. When the doors opened, she stepped into a room full of people in military uniforms. They all looked tense and scared. On the big screen at the front of the room was a picture of the alien ship. "How long do we have?" she asked General Martinez. 72 hours, he replied. "Are you ready?" Lisa nodded. "We've been ready for 40 years. President William Carter spoke to the nation that night. He stood behind his desk in the Oval Office, looking directly into the camera. His voice was calm but firm. "My fellow Americans, my fellow human beings everywhere on Earth, today we learned we are not alone in the universe. A ship from another world has come to our planet. They have given us an ultimatum. They want us to surrender our freedom and become their slaves." The president paused and took a deep breath. "I want every person listening to know this. America will not kneel. Earth will not surrender. We will face this threat together, and we will overcome it." What the president did not say was that Earth had been preparing for this day since 1947. What he did not mention was that the crash in the desert near Roswell had given humanity its first look at alien technology. What he kept secret was that everything the aliens thought they knew about human capabilities was wrong. Deep under a mountain in Colorado, Admiral Susan Blake walked through corridors that had been carved from solid rock. She was a tall woman, with steel-gray hair and ice-blue eyes. She had spent her entire career preparing for a war that most people thought would never come. "Status report," she said to the officer waiting for her. "All stations are reporting ready, Admiral," Captain Danny Rodriguez replied. "The Martian bases are online. The lunar installations are charged and waiting. The asteroid belt fleet is in position. And the Saturn operation? Commander Nick Sullivan reports all ships ready for deployment. The aliens still don't know we're there." Admiral Blake smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Good. How long since we detected their approach?" "6 months, ma'am, just like we planned. They moved slowly, probably studying us. They think they know everything about us." The alien ship had indeed been studying Earth for months, but they had only looked at what humans wanted them to see: public space agencies with slow, chemical rockets, satellites that seemed primitive, radio signals that suggested a young civilization just learning to reach beyond its own world. They had not detected the quantum signatures that human military ships had been using for 20 years. They had not seen the fusion drives that could push human vessels to near light speed. They had not noticed the mining stations scattered throughout the solar system that were actually hidden military bases. Most importantly, they had not realized that every piece of technology on their ship had been studied, improved, and copied by human scientists decades ago. Back on the alien ship, Admiral Vextar prepared for what he thought would be an easy victory. His ship alone carried enough firepower to destroy every major city on Earth. His crew of 5,000 was trained and ready. His weapons had never failed him. "Begin final preparations," he told his crew. "In 72 hours, this world will belong to the hegemony. Their resistance will last perhaps 10 minutes. His officers clicked their approval. They had seen this pattern dozens of times before. Young civilizations always thought they could fight. They were always wrong. Earth would be no different. But down on the planet's surface, Dr. Burton was making final checks on systems that would soon show the aliens just how wrong they were. The next 3 days would change everything. The galaxy would learn that humanity had been waiting, preparing, and most of all, learning from the very enemies who now threatened their world. The countdown had begun. The second day of the alien ultimatum began with Admiral Vextar feeling very pleased with himself. He stood in his command center, looking at Earth through the big screen. The planet looked so peaceful and quiet. Soon it would belong to the Galactic hegemony, just like all the others. "Any response from the humans?" he asked his communications officer. "Nothing but silence, sir. They must be too frightened to even reply." Vextar clicked his teeth in satisfaction. "Good. Fear makes the conquest easier. Prepare the bombardment systems. We will give them one more day to think about their fate." What the alien admiral did not know was that Earth was far from silent. Deep in hidden bases around the solar system, humans were very busy. On Mars, Colonel Amy Foster walked through. Corridors cut into the red rock of Olympus Mons. The base had been disguised as a mining operation for 30 years. Now it was time to show what it really was. "All units, this is Olympus Base," she spoke into her communication device. "We are at condition red. Repeat, condition red. All stealth systems are now active." On the surface of Mars, what looked like mining equipment began to change. Metal panels slid away to reveal weapons that could punch holes through asteroids. Underground hangars opened to show sleek ships that had been waiting in darkness for decades. The mining base was actually one of the largest military installations humanity had ever built that far away on Titan. One of Saturn's moons, Commander Nick Sullivan checked his instruments for the 100th time that day. His fleet was hidden in the ice rings around the giant planet. 50 ships floated in the darkness, their engines cold and quiet. They had been there for 5 years, waiting for this moment. "Phoenix Command, this is Titan Station," he said into his radio. "Fleet Beta is ready. All ships report stealth systems working perfectly. The aliens still cannot see us." Back on Earth, Captain Danny Rodriguez sat in what everyone thought was just a normal space traffic control center in Houston. But the room had another purpose. Hidden computers connected him to every human military base in the solar system. His fingers moved quickly over keyboards that controlled weapons the aliens could not even imagine. "Copy that, Titan Station," he replied to Sullivan. "Maintain position and wait for the signal." In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Commodore Rachel Thompson floated in zero gravity aboard her command ship. Around her, scattered among the space rocks, were 300 vessels that looked like ordinary mining ships, but each one carried enough firepower to destroy a city. "Mining Fleet 7, report status," she said into her headset. "All ships ready, Commodore," came the reply. "The aliens think we're just collecting space rocks. They have no idea what we really are," Rachel smiled. Humans had been mining the asteroid belt for 40 years, but they had been doing much more than just gathering metals. They had built a secret navy right under the noses of anyone who might be watching from deep space. On Luna, Earth's moon, Colonel Andy Carter stood in an observation deck looking up at the alien ship hanging in Earth's sky. It looked so big and threatening from down on the planet. But from the moon, he could see it was just one ship, just one target. "Lunar defense grid is fully charged," he reported to Earth. "Mass drivers are loaded and ready to fire. We have a clear shot." The mass drivers were humanity's newest weapons. They used magnetic fields to throw chunks of metal faster than bullets. When something that heavy moved that fast, it could crack open even the strongest alien armor. Dr. Lisa Burton was not in her fake laboratory anymore. She was in the real command center, deep underground. Around her, screens showed every human military unit in the solar system. For the first time in 40 years, she could see the full strength of humanity's secret preparations. "General Martinez," she said, "we have over 3,000 ships ready to fight. The aliens brought 50. They think they're attacking a primitive world. They're about to learn how wrong they are." General Martinez nodded. "And you're sure about the weakness in their technology?" "Completely sure," Lisa replied. "We've had 77 years to study their systems. We know exactly how to shut them down." Meanwhile, Admiral Vextar was getting his first hint that something was not right. His science officer had been running detailed scans of the Earth system, and the results were confusing. "Sir," the science officer said nervously, "I'm detecting some strange energy readings from various locations in this system." "What kind of readings?" Vextar asked. "I'm not sure, sir. There are power sources on the third planet's moon that seem too large for their technology level. And some of the asteroid mining operations are giving off unusual signatures." Vextar waved a dismissive hand. "Probably just their primitive nuclear reactors. These young species often use dangerous power sources because they don't know better." But the science officer was not convinced. "Sir, I also detect what might be artificial structures on the fourth planet. They're quite large. Mining bases," Vextar said firmly. "These humans dig in the dirt of dead worlds because they cannot make anything better. Don't worry about their toys." On Earth, President Carter was in the Situation Room with his top advisors. They all knew the truth now about humanity's real space program. The president looked tired but determined. How many people know? He asked General Martinez. Only the ones who need to know, sir. About 50,000 military personnel scattered across the solar system. Everyone else still thinks we're just reaching for Mars. Good, the president said. The longer the aliens underestimate us, the better our chances. Admiral Susan Blake was making her final preparations in the deep mountain base. Every screen around her showed human forces getting ready. The moment was almost here. All stations report ready, Captain Rodriguez told her. We have ships in position from Mercury to Neptune. The aliens are completely surrounded, and they don't even know it. Excellent, Blake replied. Signal all commands. Operation Prometheus begins in 18 hours. Prometheus was the code name for humanity's counterattack. Just like the ancient Greek god who stole fire from the heavens, humans were about to show they had stolen the secrets of space warfare from the aliens themselves. High above Earth, Admiral Vexstar prepared for what he thought would be his easiest conquest ever. His weapons were charged. His crew was ready. In 18 hours, he would give the order to begin bombing the planet below. He had no idea that in 18 hours, he would instead be fighting for his life against an enemy that had been planning this battle since before he was born. The humans were about to spring the greatest trap in the history of warfare, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The third day of the ultimatum arrived with Admiral Vexstar feeling completely confident. He stood in his command center watching the countdown clock. In just a few hours, he would begin the bombardment of Earth. Another world would fall to the galactic hegemony, and his reputation would grow even stronger. Begin charging all weapon systems, he ordered his crew. Target their major cities first. We want them to see their civilization crumble before they die. His officers moved quickly to carry out the orders. Energy flowed into massive guns that could crack mountains. Missile tubes filled with warheads that could turn forests into ash. The Dominion's fist was ready to bring death to the world below. Sir, said his communications officer, should we give them one last chance to surrender? Vexstar clicked his teeth in amusement. No, they had 3 days. Their silence shows they are either too proud or too stupid to accept reality. Either way, they will learn. Deep under the Colorado mountains, Admiral Susan Blake watched her own countdown clock. But her numbers were moving towards something very different than destruction. They were counting down to the moment when humanity would reveal its true strength. All stations, this is Phoenix Command, she spoke into her microphone. Operation Prometheus begins in 10 minutes. All units confirm ready status. One by one, responses came back from across the solar system. Mars confirmed ready. Luna confirmed ready. The asteroid belt confirmed ready. Saturn's fleet confirmed ready. Even tiny outposts on Mercury and in the outer system reported they were prepared for battle. Captain Danny Rodriguez sat at his control station with his hands steady on the keyboards. Around him, dozens of operators prepared to coordinate the largest military operation in human history. Every one of them knew that the next few minutes would decide the fate of their species. Admiral, Rodriguez said, all stealth ships are in position. The aliens still show no sign of detecting our forces. Perfect, Blake replied. Signal all commands. Execute Prometheus on my mark. High above Earth, Admiral Vexstar was enjoying his final moments of confidence. Fire control, begin bombardment in 60 seconds, he ordered. Start with their largest cities, make it spectacular. His weapons officer prepared to unleash destruction on the planet below. Energy readings climbed toward maximum power. Targeting systems locked onto major population centers. In 1 minute, millions of humans would die, and Earth would begin its journey into slavery. But with 30 seconds left on the countdown, something impossible happened. Space around the alien fleet suddenly filled with light, as hundreds of human ships appeared from nowhere. They materialized like ghosts becoming real, their hulls gleaming. With advanced armor and bristling with weapons the aliens had never seen before. "What is this?" Vexstar screamed, his calm confidence shattered in an instant. Where did they come from? The largest human ship, the USS Constitution, appeared directly above the Dominion's fist. It was a kilometer long and armed with enough firepower to destroy entire fleets. Its captain, Alex Turner, opened communication channels to the alien ship. "Alien vessel, this is Captain Turner of the Terran Defense Force." His voice boomed across all frequencies. "You are completely surrounded and outgunned. Power down your weapons immediately and prepare to be boarded." Admiral Vexstar stared at the human ship in shock. It was impossible. The humans were primitives. They barely had spaceflight. They could not have built such vessels. "Impossible," he whispered. "Our intelligence reports showed they were centuries behind us in technology." His tactical officer was frantically working at his control panel. "Sir, I'm detecting massive fleets throughout this system. There are ships hiding in the asteroid belt, around the gas giants, even on their moon. We're completely surrounded." "How many ships?" Vexstar demanded. "I count over 3,000, sir. And they're all armed with weapons that match or exceed our own technology." From Mars, Colonel Amy Foster launched her fleet of 200 ships. They had been hidden inside the planet itself, in tunnels that went deep into the Martian core. Now they burst from the surface like angry hornets, their engines burning bright blue as they accelerated toward the battle. "Olympus fleet is away," she reported to Phoenix Command. "All ships showing green across the board. We are ready to engage." In the asteroid belt, Commodore Rachel Thompson gave her own orders. "All mining vessels, drop your disguises. Show these aliens what we really are." What had looked like simple mining ships suddenly revealed their true nature. Armor plating shifted to expose weapon systems. Cargo holds opened to reveal fighter squadrons. Industrial equipment transformed into military hardware. The entire asteroid belt became a massive weapons platform. Commander Nick Sullivan led his fleet out from Saturn's rings like ancient warriors charging into battle. His ships had been waiting in the ice and darkness for 5 years, but their engines fired perfectly, and their weapon systems came online without a single malfunction. "Titan fleet is engaging," he reported. "All ships report weapons hot and targeting systems locked." On Luna, Colonel Andy Carter activated the mass drivers that had been built into the moon itself. These were the largest weapons humanity had ever constructed, capable of throwing projectiles at incredible speeds across vast distances. "Lunar defense grid is firing," he announced as the first tungsten slugs launched toward the alien fleet. Each projectile was the size of a telephone pole and moving at a significant fraction of light speed. When they hit, they would punch clean through any armor ever made. Back on the Dominion's fist, panic was spreading through the alien crew. They had expected to fight primitive rockets and nuclear missiles. Instead, they faced weapons and ships that seemed to come from their own distant future. "Sir," the tactical officer reported with terror in his voice, "the humans are using quantum stealth technology. Some of their weapons are based on designs we abandoned centuries ago because they were too dangerous. And their ship hulls appear to be made from neutronium composite armor." Admiral Vexstar felt his world collapse around him. Neutronium armor was theoretical even for the hegemony. The quantum stealth systems were beyond anything his civilization had achieved. These humans were not primitives. They were somehow more advanced than his own people. How is this possible? He demanded. Dr. Lisa Burton provided the answer when her voice came across the communication channel. 77 years ago, one of your scout ships crashed on our world. We studied every piece of technology we could find. Then we improved it. We spent 8 decades preparing for this day, and now you're going to learn what happens when you underestimate humanity." The first exchange of fire lit up space around Earth like a new sun being born. But it was not the bombardment Admiral Vextar had planned. Instead, it was 3,000 human ships opening fire on 50 alien vessels that had walked into the greatest trap in military history. The battle for Earth had begun, and it was already over. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it was over, every alien ship hung dead in space, their crews alive but completely helpless. The mighty Galactic hegemony fleet that had come to conquer Earth was now nothing more than floating. Metal cans drifting in the void, Admiral Vextar sat in his command chair, staring at screens that showed nothing but darkness. Every system on his ship had failed at exactly the same moment. The lights were out. The engines were silent. Even the air recycling systems had stopped working. What did they do to us? His science officer whispered in the darkness. The answer came from Dr. Lisa Burton, whose voice reached them through emergency communication systems. We used your own technology against you. Every ship in your fleet has the same weakness, the same flaw in your power systems that you never bothered to fix. We found it 77 years ago, and we've been waiting for the right moment to use it. The boarding shuttles came quickly. Human soldiers in advanced spacesuits cut through the alien hull like it was made of paper. They moved with the confidence of people who knew exactly what they were doing. These were not the primitive warriors the aliens had expected to face. Captain Alex Turner was among the first to enter the Dominion's fist. He walked through corridors filled with confused and frightened aliens, his boots making solid sounds. On the metal floor, behind him came a squad of Marines who kept their weapons ready but did not need to use them. Admiral Vextar looked up when the humans entered his command center. Captain Turner was not what he had expected. The human was calm and professional, not wild or savage like the stories told about primitive species. Admiral Vextar, Turner said, you are now my prisoner. Your fleet is disabled and your crew is unharmed. If you cooperate, they will stay that way. This is impossible, Vextar said weakly. The hegemony has ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. We have conquered 10,000 worlds. How can primitives defeat us? Turner smiled, but it was not a cruel smile. We're not primitives. We never were. We just let you think we were. General Jake Martinez arrived on the captured alien flagship within an hour. He looked around the command center that had been built to intimidate conquered species. Now it was just another room controlled by humans. Status report, he said to Captain Turner. All 50 alien ships are secure, sir. No casualties on either side. The aliens are confused, but not hostile. They seem to be in shock. Good. Have you explained the situation to their commander? I was just about to, sir. General Martinez turned to Admiral Vextar. You need to understand something very important. We could have destroyed your entire fleet in the first minute of combat. We chose not to. We want you to go home and deliver a message to your hegemony. What message? Vextar asked. That Earth is not available for conquest. That humanity is not as weak as you thought. And that if you leave us alone, we will leave you alone. Dr. Lisa Burton joined them in the command center. She carried a small device that she placed on the alien control panel. Immediately, the ship's systems began to come back online. Lights flickered on. Air began to flow again. This is a gesture of good faith, she explained to Vextar. We're giving you back your life support and basic navigation. Enough to get home safely. Why? The alien admiral asked. Why not just kill us? Because we're not like you, Burton replied. We don't conquer worlds just because we can. We don't destroy civilizations for fun. We defend ourselves when attacked, but we don't seek war. Admiral Susan Blake's voice came over the communication system. All ships, this is Phoenix Command. Begin Phase 2 of the operation. Phase 2 was something the aliens had not expected. Instead of destroying the remaining alien ships, human crews began repairing them. They fixed damaged systems and restored power to vessels that had been dead in space. It was an act of mercy that confused the alien prisoners. "You're fixing our ships?" Vexstar asked Captain Turner. "We're giving you enough power to get home," Turner replied, "but not enough to fight. Your weapons will stay offline, and your communication systems will only work for basic navigation." "I don't understand. Why are you helping us?" "Because we want you to reach your home worlds. We want you to tell your people exactly what happened here." Commander Nick Sullivan piloted his ship alongside one of the larger alien vessels. His crew worked to transfer emergency supplies to the defeated enemies. Food, water, and medical supplies were loaded onto alien ships whose crews watched in amazement. "Sir," one of Sullivan's officers asked, "why are we helping them?" "They came here to destroy us." "Because," Sullivan replied, "we want them to remember this day. We want them to go home and tell everyone they meet that humans are not to be underestimated." The repairs took 6 hours. When they were finished, 47 alien ships were ready to limp back to hegemony space. 3 ships would stay behind. As a permanent reminder of what had happened, General Martinez stood in the command center of the Dominion's Fist, which would now become a human research station. "Admiral Vexstar, you and your crew are free to go. Take your ships and return to your homes." "What about our 3 ships that you're keeping?" Vexstar asked. "They will be studied, but their crews will be treated well. They will be returned. You in 1 year, along with a full report of our technological capabilities." "You're showing us your technology?" "Some of it," Martinez said. "We want your people to know exactly what they would be facing if they ever tried to attack us again." The alien fleet began its long journey home that same day. As they departed, they carried with them something more dangerous than any weapon: the truth about humanity's real strength. But the humans were not finished. Commander Steve Parker led a small fleet that followed the aliens partway to hegemony. Space. When they reached the border, they did not attack. Instead, they simply appeared on every sensor screen in the area, let themselves be seen and recorded, then vanished back into the darkness. The message was clear: humans could reach hegemony. Space whenever they wanted. They could strike at any target they chose. They could appear and disappear like ghosts in the night. "Admiral," Blake sent one final transmission to the hegemony capital world. "We know where you live. We know how to reach you. We know how to defeat you. Leave us alone, and we will leave. You alone. Test us again, and you will discover that our mercy has limits." The response came 3 months later. The Galactic hegemony formally removed Earth from its list of conquest targets. The planet was classified as restricted space. "Do not approach." The file was marked with a simple note: "Hostile primitive species with unknown advanced capabilities." But the galaxy did not stay the same. Within a year, human merchant ships began appearing in hegemony space. They offered trade agreements and technology exchanges. The roles had completely reversed. Now it was the ancient galactic empire that looked up to the young species from Earth, that the age of human expansion had begun. And the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget: never underestimate the species that calls itself humanity.